Hey guys, it's Barrett. Welcome to the Gimpin' Camper. This week's episode, we're in Triple Creek Campground in Newport, Tennessee. And so this campground, the reason we're here is because we were going to use our Dollywood tickets because we got season passes this year. So we are staying more places that are closer to Dollywood and Pigeon Forge. Now Newport here is about 45 minutes away from Pigeon Forge, and it's about 45 minutes to an hour away from Gatlinburg. And so geographically, it's not too bad of a place to go if you want to avoid the hustle and bustle of all that touristy stuff, but still be in the Smokies here. Now I will say that this campground's a little tighter than I prefer, but you know, we'll get there. There are some good sites here, and overall it's a nice place to stay depending on what you're looking for. As the name suggests, there are 3 creeks that surround the campground, virtually giving almost all the campsites a good creekside view. They do allow tubing and swimming in the summertime. It's almost November right now. November 1st is actually tomorrow, so it's a little bit cold to be getting in the water. I have noticed this morning that some skeeters are still out trying to get me, but that's the price you pay when you're down close to the water and the temperature hadn't dropped yet. I cannot wait for some winter camping. Now they also do allow fishing here, and when you check in, they usually go over all the better spots that people are getting hits on, and apparently the trout fishing's not too bad around here right now. Now Triple Creek Campground is a family-owned park. I'm gonna say that it's kind of a mix between an RV park type area and an RV resort. You get a little bit of both of those here. The price isn't too horrible. Right now, I think it changes seasonally, but right now the price is $50 a night, I believe. And they do offer some discounts. They had first responder discounts, Good Sam discounts, and I believe a couple others. And so the amenities include obviously the creeks, the creek access that you're going to get throughout most of this place. And a lot of these creeks, you know, it's all nice and private. I will say down around the 20-ish area, on that main creek across the way there's, you know, a couple of trailers and stuff like that. It's not quite as homey as this, but some of those spaces have more room, so it's kind of a, you know. One thing that I do like about the area is they do have a gate coming in, so they do have a RFID card that they give you for each car that you have. And that RFID card, you know, opens the gate so you can come in and out as you wish. But with that, they do have a pretty strict visitor policy, and they do charge you extra per car, which I'm not a huge fan of. But at the price point here, based on everywhere else in the area, I don't think it's too horrible. Now the visitor policy, you know, I understand, you know, how companies have to deal with this and campgrounds have to deal with this and visitors, and you can't have like 5 million visitors show up and just overcrowd one campsite. For this reason, I will say that I have boycotted KOA for 3 years. 3 years. Because they charged me like $5 to drop my daughter off and visit her own grandfather in a campsite that he was spending about 30% more on than the other area campsites. And so this is something that kind of gets me riled up a little bit. Now, I will say that, you know, they're right up front about it. They don't seem that particular about it because they do say that if you're visiting more than 2 hours, and you know, it's a family-owned campground, and I think that if you told them that it was just Mama and Papa in here and you was just dropping off the little youngin', I have a feeling that they wouldn't charge you the extra money. But, you know, to each their own. I just want you to be aware of this. I do also want to say with the RFID card, it's nice when you're going through the gate because they have one sensor that's lower if you're in a small car like our Kia, and they have one sensor that's higher if you're in a truck and you got your trailer in tow. So that's kind of nice. They also have a lot of stuff planned out around here that's pretty nice. They have a big, nice open field in the area here, and it's probably like 3 acres in the middle of these campsites where kids can go and play, and it's just all wide open. There's a playground over in one corner of it. There's the bathhouse right there. The bathhouse also has a key code, and you get that key code on your receipt whenever you pay when you check in. So just be sure to look there, and they go over everything with you. The staff are real nice here, and I'll say that they're overall trying to be helpful. There's a red barn when you come in. That red barn also doubles as a stage. And the stage, they apparently have live music most Saturday nights. We were supposed to have music last night, but unfortunately it's been a rainy area here this weekend. And so obviously that got canceled. Now, one thing that they did do last night that I was pretty impressed with is they had trick-or-treating for all the youngins, because it's the Saturday night right before Halloween. And a lot of campers here are decorated with stuff. A lot more campers had decorations out last night, but I didn't get out and get pictures of very much of it because it was rainy. Luckily it wasn't raining hard, but it was rainy. And I'd say probably about 20 kids come by and got some candy. Now, some of those kids came more than once, but that's okay. Don't tell nobody. So like I say, as far as the campsites, they are closer together than what I would like. Now, they're not as close as a lot of the area campgrounds here in the Pigeon Forge area. You do have, I'd say 10, 12 feet in between my camper and the camper in front of me. So it doesn't feel all that cramped. But me personally, like the camper behind me, I've heard their furnace kick on and off all weekend. And I feel like if I'm close enough where I can hear somebody's furnace kicking on and off, I'm probably a little too close. I do like my space. Now, that being said, a lot of people that come to the Pigeon Forge area are just coming to use it to sleep at and to go do other things during the day, doing more of a destination camping. And I think if you're doing that, this place is going to be great for you. It's going to be closer to like the mountainous stuff and not as close to the tourism stuff. So if that's what you like, you know. But I will say, compared to like Claybo's where we stayed before, and a lot of the places down there I've just refused to stay, because I drove through a lot of those campgrounds in Pigeon Forge and I'm just like, no. Either they're way too close to stay to your neighbor, or they're way too expensive. And I'm not going to spend $70, $80 a night for somewhere I sleep in my own bed. I'm just not going to do it. Now, my neighbor over here behind me, I want to talk to him, see if I can get him to interview for this, because he kind of volunteered to be in the video, but I don't think that he thought I'd take him up on it. So we'll see what he says. He's been here multiple times, so I'm going to let him give you his perspective on the campground. Okay guys, so I'm here with Jonathan. He said he's been here quite a bit, so I'm just going to let him tell you what he likes about coming to the area.
So I've come here for probably the last 2 or 3 years actually, and you know, the things that I like about it is it's a really nice family place. It's always clean. I feel very safe here. The people that own it, they live just up over there, and retired state trooper, you know, good people. You know, I feel like they have an extra level of, you know, safety and care about the kids, and so they've even in the last year installed a gate that requires key cards. But you know, ultimately, you know, it's always clean. You know, the bathrooms, you know, they're always clean. You know, everything is just, they're blowing leaves on Sunday. I mean, it's where you want to come and bring your kids.
I did notice the gate. I actually mentioned that earlier in the video, that it was a nice safety measure.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was new. So I never came to it when it was the previous campground, but evidently they took a lot of people out and they had a lot of full-time residents, but that's no longer a thing. So the people that are here now, you know, they're trying to, you know, keep it neat and organized, and just, you know, no long-term guests.
All right. Well, thanks. I just thought everybody might like to hear from somebody that's been here more than once like me.
Oh yeah, I booked it for Halloween this year. I was here last year. I'm going to be here next year.
And I already also told everybody that they did do some trick-or-treating last night, and that was pretty nice for.
Oh yeah, coming here for trick-or-treat is the best. I mean, obviously I'm almost 40 years old myself, but you know, I've never gotten quite as much candy as they got in one night, you know, here just doing one little loop. So, and they usually have entertainment, and you know, they have an activity center up there, and so I feel like it's a great place to come.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Now the sites here, most of them are 30 amp. They do have some 50 amp available, but there's not that many of those. There are some very nice tent sites down in one corner where the two creeks come together, and there's one right on the end. And I would say that it's probably a fabulous site, except for that they're tearing down a bridge over there right now. Oh, that's the other thing. When you're coming in here, it's getting ready to be November of 2021. And make sure you check their website, because they do have directions at the bottom of that. in case the bridge is out, because the bridge is out. And so it's a little bit different. But they tell you where to turn off of, and basically it's where there's a sign saying that the 4-lane goes into a 2-lane, and then they say to look for the sign. I missed the sign because it's a pretty small sign, but just so you know, that's going to be one issue that you're going to have coming in here. I'm going to try to overlay some video of my dash cam and coming in here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But just know that it might be a little bit harder to find than usual, but there is a road right near the bridge where you can go around the bridge and not have any issues. Also coming in, when you turn off of that road on into the campground, you go over a little bridge, and I was kind of worried that it might be a little bit too narrow, but I didn't have any issues with it. There wasn't any issue whatsoever, and I think that most campers are going to be fine coming in there. Overall, the area is really nice and peaceful. It's a good area where you have a little bit of a premium access to creekside, and that's going to be really nice in the summertime if you can, you know, put the kids in tubes down there, and there's signs all over the place saying that you can do that, but it is obviously at your own risk. All right, now let's talk about sites that I would stay at if I came back here. This is always the area that most people tune into these videos for, because if Gimpy comes back, this is where Gimpy's going to stay. And I wouldn't say any of these sites are horrible, but they are closer together. These sites that I'm going to give you are going to give you a little bit more yard space, and that can make the difference if you have an issue being close to somebody or not. Otherwise, like if you don't mind having 8 to 12 feet between you and the next camper, you can stay at any of these places and you're going to be perfectly happy. Now, the first site that I'm going to recommend is probably going to be the hardest one to get your camper into, but if you're good with your backing skills, I think that it's going to be worth it. That site's F20. Now, F20, the issue that I have with it, there's a whole lot of yard space. It's going to be the biggest yard in the whole place here, but you do have to back between some trees. There's like a row of trees. Now, it doesn't appear like those trees are going to block your awning or anything like that, but you do have to back in between some trees. So if you're not comfortable with that, then you want to go to a different one. The other thing with this is on the other side of your front yard, you are going to have a creek there. Now, there's a sign there. I believe that a lot of people use this very small path right there to get in and out of the water. So if you don't like people coming on up near your camper, it's probably also not going to be the best place for you. But personally, I think it would be a great spot. The only downside that I have to it at all is right across the creek, there is a mobile home and some businesses and stuff over there. And, you know, that kind of takes away the ambiance of having just trees across the stream like you do here. Next, I would suggest site F56, F48, F72, F11. Now, I want to tell you, F11 is a pull-through site, but it doesn't have creek access. You can still get to the creek. They tell everybody that comes in here you can get to all 3 creeks, but there's no creek right beside your camper. It is a pull-through, so if that's important for you, this is where you're going to want to go, because it does give you a little bit of yard space right there. You're going to have more space than anywhere else that's a pull-through here, and they don't have that many pull-throughs. Now, the last site that I'm going to recommend is site F12. Now, I will tell you that F12 is not near the creek, but it does have a lot of yard access, and the site was a lot wider than a lot of the sites here, so I would still recommend that one. So thanks, guys, for joining us in our journey here in Newport, Tennessee. It was too rainy for me to just want to get up and go to Dollywood this weekend, so I'm kind of wasting our season passes. We're coming again up in the area in December, so hopefully we'll use them one more time before they tick-tock and run out on us. But I want to say just thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for following. Be sure to like and subscribe if you hadn't. Thanks, guys.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.